So I've chosen COVID-19, zinc, and vitamin C as my topic. The reason for that is because we are under a global pandemic where COVID-19 has affected a lot of lives. And as the virus spread, personally, I started getting a lot of messages and I saw a lot of posts where people were advising each other to consume a lot of zinc and vitamin C in order to protect themselves from the virus. So I really wanted to see if zinc and vitamin C had a role in immunity in protecting us from COVID-19, or was it more important to have an adequate and balanced diet, and how does it all affect us? I wanted to talk about immunity here a little bit because immunity is really important in protecting us from infections. And because we are talking about COVID-19 and zinc and vitamin C, and zinc and vitamin C were recommended or were used more by people because they wanted to build immunity to protect themselves from the infection. So it's important to know how our body responds to infections. So in our body, we have either innate or adaptive immune response, which responds by secreting proteins, cytokines, and chemokines, which are released by macrophages. And it's also important to see how this immunity gets affected, which we'll talk in a little bit. And if some people have a stronger immunity than others. So we'll talk about this in our coming up slides. So since we talked about immune response, we have to talk about oxidative stress because oxidative stress reduces the immune response. And what is oxidative stress? It's basically an imbalance in our body between reactive oxygen species and reactive nitrogen species and antioxidant activity. So you can understand that ROS and RNS are free radicals. That is, they're oxidants, and they oxidize our RNA or DNA, lipids or proteins, or they can also structurally modify proteins and genes. And all this would result in inflammation. So if somebody is not well and if they have some kind of an inflammation in their body, it will be difficult for them to fight with any other infection attacking them like COVID-19. We'll talk about this in the next slide. So we touched upon this a little bit. Inflammation would cause release of cytokines like interleukins and tumor necrosis factor alpha. And individuals with low-grade chronic inflammation have higher risk of infection. So we'll see what populations are more prone to chronic inflammation and if they would have higher risk of inflammation in our next slide. So we talked about immunity, oxidative stress, inflammation, and how inflammation would affect the immunity of individuals. And for an infection like COVID-19, we know that immunocompromised individuals are at a higher risk. And I'm not talking about people who have severe diseases like cancer. It's for other people as well who would have compromised immune systems, like people who are overweight and obese, or people with autoimmune diseases or cardiovascular diseases. All these conditions promote low-grade inflammation and increases risk of infection. Now let's understand what happens in COVID-19. COVID-19 complications arise due to severe acute respiratory syndrome, which are mainly due to increased inflammation caused by viral replication. The infection increases secretions of interleukins, interferon gamma, and monocyte chemoattractant protein, MCP1. The severe COVID-19 cytokine profile is characterized by hyperinflammation, multi-organ failure, and increased mortality risk. Now let's look at vitamin C and its role as an antioxidant. Vitamin C functions as an antioxidant in the capacity of an electron or hydrogen donor. Vitamin C also donates electrons or hydrogen ions to regenerate other antioxidants such as vitamin E and glutathione, and it reduces free radicals. We talked about free radicals already, but just to recap, free radicals can attack nucleic acids in DNA, or polyunsaturated fatty acids and phospholipids, or amino acids and proteins. Vitamin C also acts as a cofactor. Vitamin C is a cofactor in biosynthetic and gene regulatory monooxygenase and dioxygenase enzymes. These enzymes are involved in the synthesis of collagen, carnitine, catecholamine hormones such as norepinephrine, and peptide hormones like vasopressin. These enzymes hydroxylate transcription factors like methylated DNA and histones. Now let's understand zinc's role as an antioxidant. Zinc does not participate in redox reactions but functions as a Lewis acid to accept a pair of electrons, making it a stable ion in a biological medium, and an ideal metal cofactor for reactions requiring redox stable ion, such as in proteolysis and hydration of carbon dioxide. Thus, zinc plays an important role as an antioxidant due to it being a cofactor. Zinc is stored attached to metallothionein. Metallothionein may regulate the distribution and transfer of zinc to enzymes and gene regulation. Metallothionein also acts as an antioxidant by scavenging free hydroxyl radicals. Metallothionein helps control free radicals during stress or injury. During infections, thionein promotes zinc storage and prevents bacterial use of the mineral. A number of immune activation pathways are activated by zinc as expression of pro-inflammatory cytokines, chemokines, acute phase proteins such as CRP and fibrinogen, and others. Zinc administration stabilizes CD4, CD8, and T cells, which are vital in antiviral immunity. Zinc salts also have been known to inhibit viral entry by blocking polyprotein processing. Now let's look at the relationship between zinc and cold and vitamin C and cold. Let's look at zinc first. So zinc and its relationship to immunity has led to many studies examining the use of zinc to treat colds. Zinc supplementation appeared to reduce the duration of severity of cold symptoms if the supplementation was started within the first 24 hours of the symptoms first showing up. Zinc dosages up to 75 to 80 milligrams per day are recommended up to 1 week. Now let's look at vitamin C and cold. Vitamin C's ability to enhance immune system by promoting chemotaxis and destroying histamine has laid the basis for its use in the prevention and treatment of colds. It was seen in some studies that regular use of vitamin C, which was about 250 milligrams to 1 gram daily, reduced incidence of cold by 50%. But this was done among subsets of healthy and active adults who were athletes and soldiers. Vitamin C supplements 200 milligrams or more shortened the duration of the cold. But once the symptoms were already there, vitamin C supplements were not shown to be beneficial. So during COVID-19, a trend of increased consumption of vitamin C and zinc was seen. And a lot of misinformation surfaced, such as putting zinc in the mouth or consuming a lot of vitamin C, and advice like if you do this, you would not catch the virus. But it is important to see if vitamin C and zinc actually contribute to the treatment of COVID-19. Though it's still very new and there doesn't exist much evidence and not many studies are seen. Some studies for zinc were seen with cold. There was one study from Wuhan, China, that showed that vitamin C supplementation helped in COVID-19 treatment. And one study showed that the zinc supplementation helped in critically ill patients. But there was no optimal dose for that. And so, according to Aspen guidelines, the quality of the evidence for supplementation of vitamin C and zinc in critically ill patients is low. But in mechanical ventilation, it might improve the outcome, but there is no set dosage, and we don't know how much of the supplementation should be given. And as if people are on mechanical ventilation, they're given multivitamins. So extra supplementation of zinc and vitamin C is not recommended. And just taking oral vitamin C has during COVID-19 has not shown to improve immunity. I've put this diagram to show how complex is our immune system, and to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress through diet and nutrition is not as simple as people make it out to be. So to just say that consumption of zinc or vitamin C during COVID-19 would suddenly strengthen immunity is a really false statement. Immunity is a long-term process, and it is complicated, as you can see through the different linkages in this figure. And it cannot just be achieved overnight or in a few days. So in conclusion, we can say that vitamin C and zinc have antioxidant properties, and they help us in our immune response towards infections. But it's not only vitamin C and zinc, it's all vitamins and minerals that we need to have a strong immune system to fight an infection. For example, we saw in the figure above this slide that vitamin E, vitamin C, beta carotene help us in reducing oxidative stress. Minerals like selenium and zinc are antioxidant enzymes along with other antioxidant enzymes. And we need proteins, iron, vitamin A, vitamin D to have a strong immune system. So it is a complex process, and you cannot just say that consuming vitamin C and zinc would help you not have any kind of infection. And it is important to note that immunity is not built overnight. It is a long-term process. So maintaining a healthy lifestyle, eating a variety of fruits and vegetables is highly important. And obesity and other diseases causing inflammation increase our chances to get diseases. So it's important to be physically active and consume fruits and vegetables and have a healthy lifestyle. And the most important thing to note is that if you have a strong immune response, vitamins and minerals, for example, in this case, zinc and vitamin C, can shorten the duration of a sickness, but it's not possible that you don't get the sickness. So you will get the cold, but the duration of the cold would be short. So in the end, we can conclude that maintaining a healthy lifestyle is of utmost importance.